Hey guys, it's Dan the Mushroom Man. Just wanted to remind you that if you donate to those Facebook stars, all those donations will go to Fungi and Friends school program at Great River Mushrooms and Herbal. And that school program is where we bring hands-on skills into the classroom to children and teach them about the fungi kingdom and the knowledge to grow those mushrooms. Again, learn more at the website greatrivermushrooms.com.
Everybody, how's it going? I got a little bit going. Thought I did. Give me 1 second. I think I fixed it. There we go. You guys hear me? How you guys all doing tonight? What's going on? We're going to make some FECO tonight. That's what we're doing. And I was setting up here for the last few seconds, getting everything ready to go. Get that little welcome to taxing people in here. We're going to give away actually some FECO as well. So there's another camera over there that you can see on the other camera. Let me turn that up. And these are all the devices it's going to take to make the FECO. So please tag a friend in. Let's get that hashtag going here. What's going on, Lisa? How you doing? And we already have that. Start collecting. There we go. What's going on, Lisa? How's everybody doing tonight? I hope everybody's doing well. I'm Dan the Mushroom Man. If this is your first time joining me, and tonight we're going to actually make some FECO using an alcohol still. And I already have, what I've already done is a lot of the work. I've actually been soaking the cannabis flower in Everclear for about 2 weeks now, so it's been in the freezer. What's going on, Deborah? How you doing? Let me bring myself up a little bigger. That's the screen now. This one, there we go. Let's get some more people going in here. How you guys all doing? Hey, Debbie, how you doing? Please tag a friend in as well. I think I had to tag more people, and that's what I was doing as well. Going to give away some of that FECO as well. So this is a whole, I usually make these in 1 gram tubes of FECO, and they're on my website. You can actually go over there and get them. I haven't had any for a while. It's been actually quite a bit of time since I've actually made any FECO, just because I've been busy traveling, I guess. And back home now. Hope everybody's had a good day and a good winter as well. I don't think I have any. Oh, there's another name. Alrighty. You got it. Thanks for tagging somebody in, Lisa. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's quite a process. I actually just got a brand new press machine too, and that's what's over here. It's going to allow me to extract the flower. So this is actually a whole new process. Turn that music down a little bit. I've actually never done before. Using a couple new devices. So the first thing we got to do is this is the actual product right here. So this is the cannabis flour, and it's been soaking in the Everclear. The Everclear filled it all the way up, and it's been there in the freezer for about 2 weeks. And I usually recommend putting it in the freezer for at least a week. There's a lot of evidence to show there are reasons for that. It's kind of complicated for me to explain. There's also science out there that explains it does absolutely nothing, but from what I've seen, freezing it for at least a week does help. And some of the other people who make FECO kind of agree as well. So this stuff is actually super black here. You can actually see it's a blackish green. So what we want to do is we want to get all that Everclear out of this flour. So we have kind of a process here that we're going to do, and I'm going to show you all that. So it looks like I think we had 2 plants. There's 2 plants inside of these jars. So basically I just chuck the plants and then I put them in there to dump the Everclear into its full. Here's some of the Everclear. So this process, we're actually going to extract the Everclear from it, get the Everclear back. We usually recover about 75 to 90%. It really depends. But this machine over here, that is actually, you can see on the other camera, a little coil there. This is going to help us extract that FECO. Actually extract the Everclear. We're basically going to turn it into a vapor using heat. Then that cooling process inside the coil is going to turn it back into a liquid, and the liquid will go back into the bottle that's sitting right here. You can see this bottle. And this is just a regular alcohol still. You can buy them on Amazon. They're actually relatively affordable for what they do. All you have to do is use it about 3 times, maybe twice, to get your money's worth, depending on how much you're making. But there also is a small container. So let me get that. Since we're doing a big batch, we have the big, which is right down here, this red thing. You can't see it. Knocking pans over. But this thing right here, this is the big one that I'm going to use. I have a small one too if you're doing smaller batches of FECO. Sorry about all that noise. Jesus. The problem with the stainless steel, you drop it, it makes a ton of noise. But the price has actually dropped since I bought it. I bought this device 5 years ago. I probably made this FECO about 10 times. This is the first time I've used this press I have, which I'll show you here with camera as well. So this is the press. You can see it here. But this thing, we have it all the way down right now because right now we're just going to try to get some of it out with our hand, and then we're going to put it up, stack it up here, and then use 12 tons of pressure to remove all the rest of the Everclear out of the alcohol. Sorry, out of the flour. So we've done this before, and we wasted a whole bunch. If you don't squeeze all of the Everclear out of that flour, you're losing a lot of product because that last bit is usually super concentrated with FECO. And anybody who doesn't know what FECO is fully extract cannabis oil. It's different than RSO because we are using Everclear. Now, if you're actually making RSO, we are using a different type of alcohol. I think it's naphtha is the alcohol that Everclear is, if I remember right. It's been a while since I've actually looked that up. There's 2 different, you're basically just using 2 different chemicals. The RSO is a lot safer in my opinion for the fact that you're using Everclear, which is a very safe product. It's consumed all over the world. And it's a lot safer to use this as an extraction because it's actually meant to eat and drink. So, but please hit that like, share, reaction button as well. Hit that FECO button. I didn't know you can't see it. You bring the screen up. We're giving away a tube of the FECO as well. So this would be a 1 whole gram tube of FECO. Tag somebody in who may need some. So that's what it is sold in. And I actually have the whole shipping process as well to get it to you safely because I've heard a lot of stories about people buying them and then the plunger falls in. And I have a whole process to keep the plunger from actually falling in during shipping. So that's another issue with shipping FECO tubes is you have a plunger that's all the way out and sometimes shipping it can push it in. I think I can tag some more people in here as well. I get a lot of people message me daily about asking when I'll have the FECO back, and hopefully now this takes about 2-3 days. The whole process of this. Oh Jesus! I'm in tight quarters, knocking stuff over constantly. But this is about a 3-day process because the rest of the Everclear I actually have to evaporate off using a candle warmer, and it takes about a day or two. We don't evaporate all the FECO off during this process. And do I tag? Nope. I have about a list of 60 names of people who usually watch, so just tagging some of the normal people in that would join us. You're welcome to do the same. And these are people that I'm pretty sure could probably use some of this FECO. There we go. What's going on, George? How you doing tonight? Hope you're doing well. Put that at the bottom. I don't know why my screen's so small. Let me see. That bigger there. There we go. But we're going to actually get this process going. I'm going to start dumping these bags into this bucket, and I'll have the second camera here. I'm going to bring myself up bigger. And I think we'll get some more people in here. Here's some more people coming in. And that red bucket right there just has 160 micron filter in it. I'm just going to try to filter most of it out, and then I'll filter it again. So we're going to start dumping these jars into that bucket. It's actually not a bucket, it's a stainless steel container. So this is a whole different way of the process I'm doing it. I've never actually done it this way. So bear with me. Trying to get that camera there where you can see it yet. So we're going to start dumping that in there. And we got a spoon here to help us. So a lot of it gets trapped in there. I mean, it's packed tight in here. You can pack the cannabis very tight in here. All the liquid's going to touch every single part of it. So it is a chemical kind of extraction. We're extracting all the good cannabinoids, cannabis, THC with the Everclear. Now, I think there's actually 2 jars. I think there's 2 bottles of the Everclear in here, if I remember right, between 3 jars. And we don't want to waste any of it. So we'll even get a little, get the rest of it out here. So there's some liquid in there that I can actually still see it. So Everclear is very evaporative too, so we have to do this pretty quick or we're going to lose some of our product as well. And we also combine all the strains. I've found out that actually combining strains makes the stuff even more powerful. So I usually do a couple different strains together because I usually make this every only few months. And this stuff is actually really dark black. It looks like it's got a really, really good amount in it. So bottoms up. Yeah, so don't ever worry about mixing different strains together. It all comes out the same. It's all FECO. It's all medicine. It's all kind of getting all that good stuff out of there. This one's really fast. This one was really wet. So again, this is where this press is going to come in handy. As we start to press all this out of here. And you can see that bucket's about half full now. And again, don't forget to hit that FECO. Hashtag FECO. Get in that hashtag there at the bottom. I know that screen's kind of small. We are giving a full tube of this away tonight, so that's 2 jars down. Then we have a third one that's got about half full. And then we also have more cannabis that actually needs to go in there. So we actually have, typically, I usually save the top buds of a plant and I smoke those, and then the bottom plants of the plant usually gets turned into the FECO. So. All right. All the plant materials now in this 5-gallon bag. It's a 5-gallon 160 micron bag. You can get these on Amazon, relatively cheap. They're also used for if you're making washing cannabis. They're washer bags when you're washing and making your own hash. They're called bubble bags. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of. So please, if you're just joining me, please don't forget to hit that like, share, reaction button and hit that FECO, hashtag FECO. All right, now we're going to dip this out of here and try to squeeze as much out as we can with our hands. You can see they're just dripping out pretty hard now. Got a good amount in here. We got a good running right now. I don't think you can see that yet. You can see that Everclear just running out. It's actually Everclear with the medicine in it. So now we need to get that Everclear extracted so we can get to the pure FECO. And this process we're about to do. Still dripping pretty good. So we also have these white buckets here. These are food grade buckets. We're going to kind of convert that over to it, and then we're going to use the press to scoop. We're going to scoop it out of the bag into the press, and then that's the way we can get the Everclear out. It's probably going to take about 3 or 4 batches of filling this thing up and smashing it. But the past time I've made this, I've wasted probably 5 syringes that I couldn't get out. And this press is going to allow me to get the rest of that medicine out of the flower that I typically can't squeeze out by hand. Like, this still running pretty good. We're probably going to give it a squeeze too to get some more out. You can still feel there's a lot of water, a lot of liquid in here, even though I'm not getting much out. It's so stuck in there. So you can see we're just squeezing and we're getting some out. And that's probably all we can get out with our hand. Oh, still more running. So far, this process is working a lot better. The past times I made, it just hasn't worked well. I have an old press that I broke while doing this. This is obviously not going to ever break. It's meant for a shop, so it's a shop press. Yeah, so still a lot of liquid coming in. What's going on, Panda? How you doing? I got my hands full of bring your comment up. How's everybody doing? We're just squeezing our FECO, our flour now. We're trying to get the rest of that Everclear out of there. Well, we're still getting a steady stream, so. I usually wait till it stops still dripping, and then I'll start to do the pressing. All right, probably the best we can do. Now we got our flour here. You can see, I think you can see it, yeah, on top of that red bucket. Now we're gonna start scooping it into this press. Now we're gonna move the press back up to where it was before. We moved it. The press can be moved to different levels to customate whatever you kind of do with it. I think we are at the top level. And then you just set this thing in here. And sit on these little bars. And then we put our pan up. What's going on, nobody? How you doing as well? Thanks for the old tag, Sean. I appreciate it as well. Alrighty. So we got a good amount here. We can get a lot more. We also have some clip here. We're going to clip this onto, so we don't have to hold it this height. We're getting the cable clips on. Here's one. And two. So now we have this here, just keeps us elevated so we're not sitting so low and dripping. So we just have these little straps strap onto the handles, and now we're able to start doing some pressing. As you can see right there. That's a good view. There we go. So we're going to start filling this thing up. I think we can probably just probably put it in the filter bag. We have smaller filter bags as well for with these other smaller things. So we'll probably just put a filter bag in this pan. So we have a pan here, stainless steel, has a nozzle that comes out the side, and then it has an inner pan with some holes in it. So you can put the filter in the outer pan, then put the inner pan in there and fill that up with all our flour. Put our pan back in. Alright. This is our bottom plate too, so this plate's gonna go right inside there on that little nozzle that you see sticking out. Well, I think you can see it sticking out right here. This thing is the thing that sticks down, so we're gonna have that plate touching that and pushing down on that. So it's 12 tons of pressure. That's what this is made for, 12 tons. We're obviously not going to need 12 tons. So we'll start filling that up now. And I'll probably just use some kind of tube. Let's use the same spoon. Got this spoon. Please, if you're just joining me, don't forget we're giving that FECO away. We're making FECO right now in the kitchen. And this process we're doing kind of helps us extract our Everclear and reuse it. So see some more people coming in. Just got to make sure I don't drop any flour in that liquid. So probably coming to the back. This hot liquid dripping out, and I can hear it's still dripping into the bucket. So we're going to fill this whole pan up in here. This is actually working really well so far. And we even have stems in here. We basically threw the whole plant here. It's in cheeses now. One's buds in here and everything. And we can get quite a bit in here. Maybe we have to take about 3 presses to get all this out. Basically, after we press this out, there's not going to be anything left in this flour. We will have extracted everything out of it, and it will be just compost. And it's pretty good there. So that nozzle that sticks out that you see that I showed you does not reach all the way down to hit this thing. So we have an extension here to help us get inside of that attachment, which you'll actually see here as I start to press it. So we'll put that little thing in there. That's our little press plate. And we'll start pressing. And we should get some liquid squeezing out. You see that little hole there, little nozzle, you'll see some liquid start coming out. All right, let's go. Excited to see how a new machine works, something to never use. We can probably jack it by our hand for now. Getting some pressure now, feeling it. You're getting a little blowout in the back, but so far it's not much. Sometimes the debris does go through the basket. We can throw that in our next press. So now we're getting all the way down there. Now we're going to release it again and then put our extension on. So there's a little release button. This just goes straight up. And we might not be able to fit our extension in there, so we might need something smaller. Yeah, or we may just need to go down one level. So that's what we'll probably do. We'll just go down one level here, real fast. That'll give us a little more room to fit that clip in there that we need to fit in there. Or the little extension, as they call them. So we'll just drop these. Again, this is the first time I've used this machine, so bear with me. We're kind of learning the process. And then we have these little blocks too that you can actually extend your extend it up with. So these are like little extensions to help you to level it up a little. We set it back on there. And now we have plenty of room. Yeah, that's going to work great. We'll get our basket back on. Hard to do by yourself, so we'll just bring that down and then push it up. Alrighty. Perfect. Alright, now we're ready to start pressing again. And you still hear that stuff dripping into the bucket, so that's good. Heck yeah. Yeah, Lisa, I thought about making it that way, but the way that I do it, I'm not sure if it'll work, and I don't want to spend $400 or $500. And I talked to Joe Kelly. I actually had all the parts bought out to make my own, and then I went with this press. This press was a lot cheaper than all that stuff. And this is going to work just fine, pretty sure. I know Joe Kelly said he didn't like the size of his, that Source Turbo was really small. So I was going to make my own, but I just don't know if I make my own if it'll actually work, so that's the issue. And we'll see how well this works. So we'll keep pushing down. Getting some pressure now, I can feel it. You can feel, here's the flour getting squished. Got nothing running out, but I think it's just too small. So this thing actually has a little room where there's actually something that can sit in there. So. Not getting any running out. There we go, there it is. So you can see how much we actually squeeze out of there. It's been running out there. So that actually worked really well. We'll probably just add some more and just keep filling it up. But give it one more press and kind of see how it goes. Maybe we'll get some more out of it. Should have kept pressing until there was nothing. So I'm basically going to make a pancake with the flour that's basically going to be flattened out and squeeze everything out of it. So I keep forgetting we got 12 tons of pressure. Every time I've ever made this, I've usually broke my machine, so because it wasn't enough pressure. So we can squeeze. I can still see it coming out, I guess. The question is, where do we stop? How do we know? Probably pretty good. I'm a pretty strong guy, and that squeeze is pretty good. We'll raise that back up. Dump the rest of it out. That's amazing how much came out of there. I can't believe how much came out. It didn't look like there was any in there from first look, so. Dropped some flour in there, but that's okay. We're gonna end up filtering it again. So we basically have a pancake now. We're gonna see how dry it is and make sure we got everything out of it. It's pretty dry. I don't think there's anything else in it. So that's color's gonna knock the rest out of here. That's all stuck together. It's so dry. It's like compacted hay. So we're just gonna dump it in our sink here. Batch. Yep, I don't think there's anything left in it, so I need to put some gloves on though. Give me 1 second to get a pair of gloves. And if you haven't, hit that like, share, reaction button and that FECO button. Hashtag FECO. What's going on, Rossman? I should have been wearing gloves anyway. I don't know why I wasn't. I don't want that alcohol getting all over. Watching this guy, I'm gonna create some what? Pressing bubble hash, yeah. But I bought this press too. I can actually add some heat plates to it and actually press them as well. So that's probably something I'm going to do. There's still some in there. All right, now we'll load the next one up. Do the same thing again. But this time it's going to be easier since we kind of know what we're doing now. We'll just scoop that in there. It really doesn't look like there's anything in there. It just looks like dry flour. So how much we got out of it was awesome. So that's kind of why I brought it to Lisa May. I'll have a 2-for-1. I can press some press cannabis with it and use it for this. I also needed something to squeeze for my CBD, CBG oil that I make. I had issues trying to get that out as well. And we're going to fill this one up even more now that I know that I can. And I think the alcohol may have destroyed my bag too. We'll figure that out here in a second. I don't think that alcohol is good for this bag. But if not, then we'll just buy a paint thinner bag next time and not use these. So we can actually get that extension fit in there. Oh. There we go. That already makes it tons easier. Now we can just start. Should be able to see it. We can. So we're just gonna start pressing. Got a little jack here. Bottleneck jack. And we're just going to make sure that we're keeping it straight because I need both hands to do. There we go. You're going to want that extension popping out. Start to hear it crunching down. Hear all these thick stem flour crunchy. You can see how much we pressed down in there now. Flour in there. See the liquid start to come out. Again, we can get a good amount of pressure. It's actually dripping out now, so we've got quite a bit. If we could put it at some kind of angle, that'd be nice too. So maybe I can get some kind of block on an angle to help me just drip out more easier. Different ways to skin a cat, right? Now the problem with the buchler funnel, Buchter, I think is what it's called to pronounce it the right way. But that type of funnel, I wasn't sure if I bought all the different parts if it would actually work with the vacuum I bought. I know that was Joe Kelly's biggest thing, that his device is very small. I think it's 500 milliliters. I was going to buy a 4,000 milliliter device, but I would end up spending like $500 to $600 after I bought all the components. But someday I still may do it. I just didn't want to. I wanted to try the cheaper option first. Let's see, we're still going down in the press. We're starting to bend the plate a little, so we're going to back off. I think that's about as far as we can go. You can see we're getting a nice steady stream running out. I don't know if you can see that. It's right below there, so you can see. The drip action. Can't get any closer than that. All right, now we'll release it and see how much we drain out of there. I love this press up. It goes back up so easy. Quite a bit. And it's basically pure black. So we know that last bit is probably very concentrated. That last bit that gets stuck inside the cannabis. It's always usually very dark colored, so. We'll give it one more breath, see what happens. I don't think we're going to get anything out, but this is still an experiment. I'm still trying to figure the machine out and make sure maybe it's one press, two presses, what works the best. We're all learning together. And it's easier to do it in your hands for the first until you get it tight, so I'm just going to use my hand. Get that last few inches. Oh, drop my attention. So this little metal extension I just have to line up. There you go. Use an extra time. See if we can squeeze any more out of here this second time we press this batch. I don't think we will, but we'll see. We have quite a bit of liquid in here to make some FECO. The second step is the fun part when we start boiling. And we'll go a little tighter than I did last time. Alrighty. Is that good? And we didn't get very much at all, so the second press probably wasn't worth it. And maybe a little. We'll do the same thing again. We'll dump that. Looks like we got one more batch. Yeah, this stuff's just dry. There's nothing left of it. It's just crazy how compacted it is. I got to use a fork to get it out. And I bent my fork. That stuff's stuck, dude. See what I did in my fork? I bent it. All right, now for the last batch. I think that last part of this flour material. And I could probably just scoop it on the counter. That's what we'll do here. Kind of see me over here instead of the counter. It'd just be easier to have done that from the beginning since it's not dripping through. Hopefully we can fit the rest of this in here. But it looks like the alcohol did ruin our bag, but I should have learned my lesson. Don't put alcohol in a bubble bag. Oh well, it happens. Hey, we might need to go a few more batches here. Well, now that we only know we do one jack press, it'll be a lot faster now. You can see how I kind of bent my plate here. Still getting some dripping out. Nice. Just dripping into that bucket we got going. Pack the bag up, and then we'll start the actual pumping it in. Make sure we keep it lined up. Perfect. See that plate going down, get tighter and tighter. Quite a bit coming out. This actually started bubbling out. Again, I did not expect to see that much liquid in that. It didn't look like it had any. It's running out. There we go. We got quite a bit out. How's everybody doing tonight? That was forked up. I know it was. I totally forgot I had some coffee here too that I made. That was actually why I was 5 minutes late to my own show. And it's cold coffee. Cold coffee. Almost spilled it on my laptop too. Actually, I did a little bit. But you guys are actually right below my microwave, see? In my kitchen. Smoking some hash. That actually sounds delicious. And again, don't forget to hit that hashtag FECO and the like button. Share it with your friends. We're going to give a whole tube away of what we're making tonight. Stop dripping here. I don't think we can get it much tighter. Alrighty, let's see how much dump out of there. Very nice. I think we'll just throw the rest in there. And then just squeeze it. We don't have much left, so. So just load the rest into here. Actually, we'll take the bag out of the bucket. And the bag is stuck to the bucket. Quite a bit inside the bucket too that just could actually dripped out. So we'll just toss the rest in here. And then we'll use our hand. This bottom part is pretty much super concentrated with some liquid. I think we'll probably squeeze a lot out of here. Obviously, the bottom's going to be the wettest as it goes down into the bags. I think we got all of it. We probably ruined our bag, but that's okay. Lesson learned, don't use a hatch bag. Never figured. I actually think I knew that, but it's been a while. Bring back up the big screen. That's not. Trying to eat, but it's still too hot. We got some more liquids in the bucket. This is probably the biggest batch I've ever made. And we're gonna see what happens. All right, let's get that press going. I can't fit our extension in yet, so we'll move it down a little bit. Our extension. And then we're going to filter it out one more time, all the debris, and then we're going to start cooking it. Separate that Everclear away. Everclear away from the actual medicine. Quite a bit of ways to go. We're out of room. Fell out of extension. And for the last press. All right. Got that liquid coming out. Let it run for a second. We make sure we clean all that Everclear off our counter because it can mess up your counter. Any kind of alcohol on anything. What's going on, Timmy? How you doing? Nice to see you. We're just finishing squeezing up some Everclear, and then we're going to start separating it. Alrighty. Got one more left in here too. We'll get out of here. We'll just use this bucket for our second filter. We're just going to throw a filter bag in there real quick. And I'm going to clean it out with some paper towels. And then we'll clean out the other container and then dump it back in there. And that way we have no flour, we have no flaky material, nothing that went through, just plain liquid. So we gotta make sure we get all that out of here. I think we got it all. Another filter bag. And this one's already had alcohol run through it, so we'll do it again. Our 120 micron, that should be able to grab everything else. So what it does is it actually melts the little vinyl thing in there that kind of melts it. That's what the alcohol does. We'll do a few more pumps here. Getting pretty hard to squeeze down now. Didn't break anything, it just fell out. That thing went sideways, but hit a big bang, didn't it? We got some more out of there, and that's probably about all we're gonna get. I call that a successful press. We're not gonna get much out of there. Then we'll clean the rest of that up later. We're done with our press now. Now we're gonna separate, like I said, that liquid. Make sure we get all that flour out of there. Dump it through another filter bag. Make sure we get all that out of here because it actually sticks. There's a lot that sticks. Move the camera. And then we're going to make sure our stainless steel is spotless. How's it going, Charles? We're about ready to start the second process of this. That was actually the fastest I've ever filtered the flour before. I've actually had to take longer than that, and I made a hell of a mess before. I made a mess, but not as much as one. Then we get all that little debris out of there. It's good. All right, now dump it back into here now that we filtered everything out of there. We got a little bit of some blummies at the bottom, so we definitely get the debris out. Now we'll dump back into our container. This is our main chamber now to evaporate the liquid out. Quite a bit in here. See how many bottles we can fill up. And you'll actually see when I start extracting this how clear that Everclear comes out. All right, we rinse this out real quick so we don't stain our bucket. All right, now we're going to move the camera up to the other spot here. And I'm going to make sure this isn't going to die because I think my laptop. %. We're still okay. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope you're all having a good night. We are now going to the second step of this whole FECO process. Please hit that like, share it with some friends, tag some people in who may be able to use that FECO. And we're ready to go. So we have a burner here. We can get this on here. All right, so we have a burner and we're going to start with these FECO. Let me actually see where the best camera view is. I'll probably just put the tripod legs down. Works the best. So you can see that this thing here, this is going to heat up. It's going to evaporate, go into here. We have some ice over here that we're going to start using to keep this cool. So basically, turn it into a vapor. We're going to cool it down. This ice cold stuff's going to turn it back into liquid, and then it's going to come out right here out of this tube here. So we're going to start putting this thing in ice. We have a bucket of ice over here, these tubes over here. As you can see, these tubes go into, there is a pump down here. So this pump is going to pump the water into here, circulate it, and help keep this coil cold. You can see this coil coming off of that over there. So it's chemistry, basic chemistry, turning it into liquid, being attracted to the cool air, and then going back into that liquid form. Everclear is just going to come out of here and not our medicine. So we're going to put some ice in it. And then put some water, some different and the smaller ice cubes can go inside this foil. The colder it is, the faster it goes. So we'll add ice chunks into here and keep going. But we like to pack that full ice, we'll keep it nice and cold. And it usually takes, for this, a batch like this, we're going to use about 5 or 10 pounds of ice. That's pretty good. We're going to add a little bit of water now. And we can start turning that flame on now. So this is a burner. There is absolutely no open flame. There are no chances of fire. I've actually done this with an open flame before and safely, so this is a lot easier. Make sure you use a burner and there's no open flame, because obviously alcohol is flammable. So I'm going to start boiling that up about 190 degrees, I think it is where Everclear starts to evaporate. And you'll actually start hearing it, start seeing the dripping as well. So we have this thing as well, has these, bring the camera back over. It has these things on the side, so this allows us to seal it down. So we're gonna push all those down to where they need to go so we can seal it properly. We also have a gauge over here for our temperature. And then this also unit here, so seal comes across here. And you can already hear it. I don't know if you can hear it on this camera, but it makes kind of a really loud boiling noise. So we'll let that get the temperature. And let me get a better camera view here. This is the first device here that we're going to use. Let me just actually put this like put on the table. Get a better view. That should be better. Just like to see it drip out here eventually, but made a heck of a mess. There we go, good angle. So around about 80 degrees already. It's going up pretty fast. What's going on, Joe Kelly? So I ended up just buying the press to extract all the flour. I didn't end up buying the bucket or funnel. I just didn't feel confident of spending $600 on different separate pieces, and that would work. But eventually, I may buy one. This worked pretty good for what I needed it for. Need to clean up my mess. Looks like Everclear stained stainless steel as well. Little green marks on my stainless steel. We're getting there. It's up to 90 degrees. No, I didn't end up getting it, Joe. Just didn't, like I said, didn't feel confident that separate parts of different things would be strong enough to work. It takes a lot for me to trust something works unless I see it. So all I was looking to do was squeeze it out. So squeezing, sucking, vacuuming, whatever it takes. All right, let's add some water now. We gotta turn our pump on too, so. All right. We're getting some steam going on, so we're getting some heat, but temperature gauge ain't moving much, but it takes a minute. I'm going to add some water to the pump as well. Imagine if it's a lot more liquid, it's going to take a little bit. So how many quarts you're starting with, I don't really know. I don't really measure it out. I just know it's a lot. And I'm hoping to fill at least 2 of my bottles back up. We got a full bottle here. We gotta get up to boiling. Just waiting for it to get there. There you go. Now I can move in a little more. This is THC. This is FECO. I don't think I've ever made FECO with it. CBD. This is a little bit of the worried part where something can go wrong while it's heating up. So, but typically nothing's gonna go wrong with it. It's just take forever. Come out over here. We're at 60, 70, 80, still about 80 degrees. I do sell CBD oil. I'm just not making it at this batch. I made a whole bunch a month ago. And this is just the largest amount I've ever made. There's a lot of liquid in there, and I guess you have to heat that liquid up. It'll take a minute. It's having a, you can hear it in there making some noise. But there, hit that hashtag as well for that FECO. What's up, Joe Kelly? I think it was 2 plants. If I had to weigh everything out, that would take longer than doing anything else. So I don't weigh anything out. That would just take too long. Well, I have no idea how much I'm making. I have no idea how much plant that came out of. It was two plants, that's all I know. I don't have a lot of time in my life, so the time I do have to make this stuff, I usually don't measure, don't write all that down. Gonna make what it's gonna make, because a lot of times it doesn't matter how much you have. It really, it's more or less the strain you have and how much THC actually is in it. Yeah, just fill up the jars. I should weigh a jar one of these times, but I imagine it's probably 5 or 6 ounces of material that I put in here. It was leaf material and bud, so. It's heating up, it's just going slow. I guess we could smoke some cannabis while we're waiting. I got some blueberry muffin that is all done by Humboldt. It needs to be cut up and cured, but it is smokable. It's actually pretty strong. It's a little rough still, but I've smoked some earlier. There's some of it right here. Ready to tear them up. But I imagine it needs to be cured to make it not so rough. But it's perfectly dry, ready to go. What's everybody else smoking on tonight? What's everybody else growing? Anybody got any blueberry muffin by Humboldt in their garden? One of my one of my favorite strains to grow. Unfortunately, it usually grows in a small plant though, so it doesn't turn into a giant. They're usually medium-sized plants. But good smoke, good taste, great flavor, especially after it's cured. Growing some blueberry muffins, nice. Getting louder and louder, that boiling noise. Smoking on some high noon, very nice. Drew 3 last time. Did you end up pressing it, Joe? I imagine you pressing that blueberry muffin's delicious. Almost up to 100 degrees. fact that it's taken so long to heat up is a reminder that this is the biggest batch I've ever done. And I think it's because of the press. So usually in the past, I have not been able to squeeze the rest that I did out. I mean, I probably squeezed out an additional, I'm going to guess 10 to 12 ounces of liquid from that press. And that's something I wasn't able to get in the past. So I think that's the fact that we have the largest batch. 99 degrees, almost 200. You should start seeing some drips here in probably 5 minutes. Usually the Everclear starts actually coming out. You're gonna grow some blueberry muffin outdoors. It'd be interesting to see it grown outdoors. It would probably be a great plant if you could put it in a pot. It doesn't grow that large. It's more like a bush. So if you did grow it outdoors, you could probably move it pretty easily in a pot. Yeah, the yield's not great, Joe. It's fire, but it doesn't grow that big. You're right. I've actually vegged it once for 3 to 4 months, I think it was, and it didn't get big. I had a plant right next to it that got twice as big as that one, and the blueberry muffin just didn't get very big. It's just the way the strain is. Sometimes you get these really good strains. They don't grow a lot, but man, are they good. They are just delicious. Just grow more plants. That's what you have to do, really. Usually you can grow about 3 blueberry muffins that fits in one of your normal sized plants. But it does bush out. I notice it doesn't grow up, and it starts growing sideways. Checking for leaks too. Now I gotta get my bowl and we'll grind this up and I'll smoke something into it. Growing some F4 local skunk, and you got all kinds of stuff you're growing. Not sure what I'll be smoking tonight. Very nice. I've been cutting back on a little bit of cannabis smoking. I'm working again. I have not worked yesterday and today, but we were working tomorrow. Probably not working Friday. And then next week we have some beautiful weather. I imagine I'm going to be going back to about 50, 60 hours next week. But I'm ready. I've had all this winter off and took a delightful vacation. As you saw in my post today, I drove 6,800 miles. I visited 16 states, 13 locations. It's actually the more traveling I did in the last 3 months than I have in the previous 41 years of my life. So it was really awesome to do that. It really changed my perspective of the world. I think your comments are coming through. You're probably just not in the we're live on 3 locations. So on 2 locations on Facebook, we're live, and then shared to groups. So if you're in a group watching it, you may not see all the comments. I'm not sure where everybody's watching from, but typically they're all on my actually right here. 8 people are on my personal page. So that might be why you're seeing the comments. I can see all the comments because they come all into one location here. But one of the GMO crosses I made with Frostbolt only gets about 2.5 feet tall. It looks weird. Nice. Hey Susan, what's going on? We're at 101 degrees now. I'm just hoping that burners can get hot enough, but from my past experience, that burner has got hot enough to evaporate Everclear, so. And if not, we'll probably have to get a bigger one. This is probably something I need to do anyway. It'll be next time before we make FECO, buy a larger burner. Which I thought I did last time, but I don't remember. It's been about a year since I've actually made FECO. Last summer, I just got too busy with work, and hoping not to happen this summer. Although I'm going to get busy, I just hope to have a lot more energy. It's making a lot of noises. It starts to, like, the metal starts to get hot and it starts making noises, and it freaks me out for a second. But it's normal. I always remember that thing makes weird noises as it heats up. That's what metal does when it heats up, and it has the clamps on top. So when it actually starts to get a little tighter, the clamps kind of move, making noise. What's going on, Ty Pond? How you doing? What you smoking on, Ty? What are you growing outdoors this year? And we're about to get into the outdoor grow season, so I imagine a lot of you guys are thinking about what you're going to be growing outdoors. And here, before you know it, we're already in 5 days into March, and I felt like March just got here. Especially next week, we're going to be in the 70s. We're all going to be fiending to go outside. We're all going to be wanting to get all that, get our outside areas ready to go for the spring. I know I will be. So it's heating up. We've only been live for an hour and a half anyway, so we still got time. Yes, I'm making some FECO Thai. We actually spent the first hour pressing it and using this press here that I just actually got today, and we were able to squeeze a lot of the extra FECO out. So I think we have about a gallon liquid. It should, like I said, it should have been about 1 3/4 of the FECO of the Everclear bottles, as you call them. What do you call these? A handle? Oh, wrong one. That one. The handle of Everclear. So I think there's about 1 3/4 of those in here. But we also, since our last live, I didn't show, we have the stainless steel table and this cabinet. We've kind of upgraded the kitchen area for it. And this is actually where we make our soup, and we actually have to be licensed with the state of Illinois to make our soup here. So I tried to upgrade a lot of our stuff for when that happens. We're still working on that. So I have to get a cottage license, and the cottage license allows you to make home products that you sell at a market or sell at a store. And then they're able to, the state of Illinois can inspect your kitchen if something goes wrong. Now, it's not like the same as a restaurant license. They can't randomly inspect you. They can only inspect your facility if somebody gets sick or if something suspicious happens. So that's the difference between a cottage license and a restaurant license. So something we're still working on in order to start selling my soup at more places. We already have a few locations that are interested in selling the soup. But they told me that I needed the cottage license and then probably some insurance. We're still working on that. So we also upgraded a lot of the other basement facilities with our production room with stainless steel, and then as you guys all know, the lab room. So here's the lab, which is just off my kitchen. So my kitchen's just right around that corner. And here's the laboratory, which you've all seen. Hold on, my laptop's trying to leave the stream. There we go. Yeah, we have this nice stainless steel, We're also going to add some more over here. And then eventually this is where we're actually going to make our FECO. We'll have a stainless steel table over there once we get our windows put in, but they're still not in. And so this will actually be the room where we make all of our products, not just the kitchen. The kitchen will just be for our soup. The FECO, I don't need really anything in the kitchen but a burner, which obviously I can put a burner in here. So it really helps to have all that right off of the kitchen there. So it's just in one of my bedrooms. That's where my lab is. So I actually smelled a little bit of Everclear, and I thought I did. We got a leak, So let me grab my wrenches. It's pretty normal when I get a leak. So it is evaporating. It's just sometimes it starts to drip when the connection to the hose. So there's actually a connection right here that is dripping. And we're just going to tighten it a little more. Yeah, it's not very tight. I don't know who put that together, but he didn't tighten it. So it actually might be sweating. I'm not sure if that's ever clear or if that's wet. But we do get leaks sometimes. Just check them and then just make sure you tighten your little connections. It smells like water, so I don't think it's a leak. But I'm hoping it gets, starts getting, temperature-wise, gets hot enough to start evaporating on this line. It's still stuck at 103 degrees. It's changing with the pantyhose, yeah. I think the problem is there's so much left in that flour that you don't know, like, until you press it. And like I just pressed all that flour that I had after I squeezed it out, and I was shocked at how much more liquid I got out. But yeah, I soaked mine, I think it was in there for 2 weeks. I soaked it right before I went on vacation. And so it's been in the freezer for 2 weeks, and the jar is soaking in Everclear. It is heating up, it's just going slow, so. Shake, 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 let's fry one twice. Yeah, you can never get it all out. As long as you get, I'd say 95% of it, it's always good. But anyway, if you make it at home anyway, you're getting your money's worth, so that's for sure. Because you know how expensive it is at the dispensary. So even if you get half of what you get, what's in there, you're still getting your money's worth compared to any other. So you always save money making your own medicine. Made some chocolate with FECO. That was probably potent chocolate. What do you shred your buds with? Do you use like a machine or you just use your hand? I've used a food processor once, and it works actually really good. You can grind marijuana literally to a dust in the food processor, but the problem is when you burst those trichrome heads, they stick to the sides of the food processor. So I feel like you lose a lot of it when you burst those, when you do it that way. Just make it into shake. I do too. I usually get it nice and dry. But the way I dry my cannabis, I dry it in my tent, and then I have this container I put it in with a lid on it. It kind of keeps it, I think Joe Kelly does it the same way, and then I just trim it when I have time. But the lid on the container kind of keeps the humidity up a little more. So I trim it and get it into a cure bag. I call it the lazy man's trim method because I don't always have enough time to trim the whole plant at once. So I put it in the container, and then I'm like, hey, I got like half an hour here. I'll grab the container, grab my scissors, and start cutting up a little bit. So I always refer to it as lazy man's way of trimming. And, whenever you got time to do it, because everybody hates trimming. So for some reason, it all of a sudden chopped 160 degrees. My guess is the thermostat was stuck or something, because now it jumped from 100 to 160. Or we did have a leak. So if we don't have that pressure, we don't exactly have pressure in this device, but we have somewhat pressure when the heat actually rises, that it'll actually go through that funnel, as you can see in the camera. And we got liquid. You can see it dripping right here. I'll show you. There it is. That is the Everclear. clear as day, and it'll actually start running it'll start running really hard here in a second once it gets up to that evaporative temperature. And we'll start having to pack more ice in there. We don't have our pump on yet. I don't usually use the pump until I start running really good. Use the magic butter machine. Yep, awesome. I made a trimmer, and then trim goes in the freezer. Nice. What's up, Mike? How you doing? As in, what do you mean? Oh, that's right. You wash it with Everclear, throw the Everclear back in. Man, that just sounds like a lot of work, Joe. But you said you get more out of it, huh? You wish there was another way to do it, but do you have like a room you do that in, Joe, so you make a hell of a mess? Or do you do it in the kitchen? Or I need a processing room, but the kitchen works good. Eventually I'll have the laboratory, and then I can make a heck of a mess in there. I just said, Joe, do you have a place in your house that do you process the FECO, or do you do it in your kitchen as well? Still getting some dripping. We're gonna add some more water, add some more ice. Then we have our ice bucket over here. There's some more ice in there. Now we'll turn our pump on. We're just going to get it going a little bit. You can see this thing actually has valves on it. Let me valves right here that allow me to control the intake and outtake. Yep, that makes it a lot easier. We'll get that nice and cold. Actually, now we got a steady stream running out. You can see it running. Well, kind of see it, but there's a fine, steady stream that's coming straight out of the copper tube. That is all our Everclear, and we are getting it all back. The Everclear is expensive, so you want to definitely get as much back as you can. I usually get about 75% back, and the best conditions, and maybe even get 80. But getting 75% of your Everclear back, I think is awesome. So, and this is the first time I've used a press, so maybe I get more back. I don't know. Well, it's running out really good now. We got a pretty good sim. Heck yeah, it does. How much to send to if I win? What do you mean? Did you say something that I didn't miss? Cook it off. Don't make a big mess. That's awesome. It's almost mushroom hunting season, you're right. Oh, you mean how much to send an extra one if you win one? Gotcha. That stuff's like $5 a ship. It's pretty cheap. I ship it in toothbrush holders. That's my secret. Is I buy toothbrush holders. And that way, all right, I just realized that was leaking all over. Let me get a towel. It's not the first time I've overflowed my It's not the first time I've overfilled it. I wasn't paying attention. You guys see it on camera, overfill? It just goes onto the table, no big deal. I don't even know where that leaked out of. I didn't think it filled all the way up, but it was leaking out the back side. Still leaking? I don't think so. We're good. All the ice in there, coming through here. It went back to a drip, but sometimes it does. We need to run some cold water. Hold on, we're gonna switch the tubes here for a second. Alright, I think we're gonna make it a mess. My laptop's about to die too. I need to grab the charger real fast. In 1 second. I don't really know where it's all leaking out of, but somewhere we're getting a leak. I think it just may be from being cold. Getting a lot of Everclear running out now. But let me grab my laptop charger. Got a nice steady stream running out. All right, now our laptop's not dying. Like the port chill of the copper. Yeah. With the distiller making more tension than FECO. It's pretty cheap. I mean, I think this distiller I have now, I bought it for 150. It's 110 now, if I remember right. So it's gone actually down in price. For a distiller, it's not too bad of a price. And it's good quality. All stainless steel. So I do have an extra pot. I have a larger pot and a smaller one. It's still coming out. I need to put some more ice in there. The colder you keep it, the better. So. Go back to the other one now. Switch our connections. We have them on top and bottom. Alrighty. Bad thing is the ice blocks it from draining properly. That ice dam. We'll now dump the rest of the ice into the coil here. And let that coil nice and fluid. And it should start running pretty good again. I just have to keep adding ice to mine. I have not got a pump yet. Gotcha. Mine came with the pump. The distiller actually came with the pump. So, and all the tubes and everything else. I have a whole little container that's full of all the extra parts that I use as well. Nice steady stream coming out. So I'm pretty sure after we fill that one up, we'll have to check it, and I have to open up the distiller. So the only problem with using the distiller is you don't know when the Everclear is all evaporated. So you have to leave a little bit in there, and that's where you lose a little bit at the end. Because I actually have left it in there too long, and I ended up burning Everclear. It actually caked onto the bottom of the stainless steel and burned on it, and I had to scrub it off with stainless steel. I ended up messing up the whole batch and had to throw it away. So that's the bad thing about using the distiller. You have to check it as you get towards the end of your evaporating all the Everclear. Well, that's why sometimes it's also good to know how much you put in, so you know when you're getting close to that. But it fills up pretty fast once it starts running. I mean, we got a pretty good drip coming out. So you can't see it on the camera, but we'll do that. See it running out. How much we got so far? Put the stand back up now so you can see it. My phone's got 14% too, so we'll just keep it on until it dies. I don't have a plug-in charger anymore. It's only wireless, so I can only wirelessly charge it. And when it starts to die here, we still have the laptop. And again, if you're just joining, haven't hit that reaction button, please do. We need 2 more for 30. Hit that FECO button, hashtag FECO. We're going to give away some FECO. And basically the rest of this process is you just finish evaporating that, check it here once in a while. And then I have a small amount left. I'll put that into my smaller container here. Here's my smaller container. And you can even go into another smaller container, and then I use a candle warmer. I have somewhere I have a candle warmer. I think it's in the other room. So just a normal wax warmer device that's not very hot. That works excellent to evaporate the remainder of your Everclear. Leave it on that for a couple days. It will not burn your FECO, so it'll basically evaporate the rest of Everclear, and then it's not hot enough to burn that remainder. So that's the best thing I've actually found to finish off evaporating the remainder of your Everclear is to use a candle warmer, wax warmer. They work great. And they keep you from burning your FECO if you're trying to evaporate it. You can also leave it sitting in room with a fan over it. That takes a lot longer. It can take up to a week to eventually evaporate all that Everclear out. You got to get low and pour this. I honestly want to see that whole process done. It'd be pretty cool. So now we need to add more water. Pour it in anyway. Joe, the pump doesn't work well anyway. This goddamn thing's clogging up. It's not filling up. Those little ice chunks end up getting stuck in the tube of the pump, and it doesn't work very well anyway. Better off just to use the damn. Just scoop it out of there and dump it in there, and then as it melts, dump it out, and then add more ice and water. All right, cheers. Let's smoke some blueberry muffins, guys. Cheers, everybody. I can't see how much percentage my phone's at, but it says it's dying. We'll probably give away this FECO here in 8 minutes anyway, and probably call it a night, because it's probably going to take a while to do that, not unless we do it all the time. But like I said, the rest of the process is just evaporating it off, dumping it into a candle warmer. It's pretty simple the rest of the way. And my guess is it might be another hour to evaporate to get the rest of that FECO out, because we're only at like a quarter of that jar. We've been going for half an hour or so. It's a good thing. That means I'm going to have a lot of product here at the end. I'm hoping that I have enough to fill 30 syringes. The last batch I made, because I never know, you don't know how much FECO material, actually medicine, is in the flower until it's actually extracted, because every plant's different. Some plants are able to extract more, some other plants, as anybody knows who presses as well, you press rosin. Some plants are bigger yielders than others. It's just the way nature is. Same way goes for that FECO. I have my Ophelia strain that I've grown now for probably 5 years. It's typically a pretty heavy hitter. I usually get a lot out of it, and it's really, really strong medicine. I've actually had people tell me it's some of the strongest FECO they've had. I honestly think it's just because it's made in small batches. I think a lot of the FECO you buy from dispensaries made larger batches, and it's not as potent when you're doing those small at-home batches. So, and the fact that I oven decarb it, I soak it in the freezer for a week. I think there's a lot of evidence that shows that freezing does a lot to it. And I didn't ask Joe, do you freeze yours, Joe? I think you said you did. You put your Everclear, you put your flour in Everclear and then freeze it. And what about you, Ted? Or Ty? Yeah, Ty. What about you, Ty? Do you freeze your FECO material as well? No problem, Deborah. I know it's hard to do it on this level unless you have the equipment, though. But the equipment is actually pretty affordable. It is kind of dangerous unless you know what you're doing, because again, you are using Everclear, which is fire, but we're using that burner the safe way. But we have used gas burners in the past. I never had any issues, but when I do use a gas burner, I keep a fire extinguisher next to me. I actually have one under the stink heater. So a lot of people don't know that I actually went to 2.5 years of fire science school. I actually have a fire science degree. I never actually used the degree because I got into construction later on in life, and construction pays way higher than the starting pay of a firefighter. So I kind of that faded away in my career, and I got a degree, a fire science degree, for absolutely no effing reason. So, but I basically am an expert in fire. Hazmat. I got certified in a whole bunch of different things it takes to become a firefighter. So I have an OCD with fire stuff. Like I leave my house in the morning, I like to double check, make sure my burners are off on my stove. It's kind of an OCD, but honestly, I think it's because of that fire science school. I'm very aware of how fires start houses, and especially older homes like mine. But when I actually went to LA, a lot of people don't know this. When I went to LA on this past road trip, what was I there? About January 9th. I got there the day the fire started in LA, and they were actually recruiting firefighters. I probably could have showed up and asked and gotten a job. They were actually looking for paid people. They didn't have enough firefighters in the area. But unfortunately, I got sick in Vegas, and I had like a 48-hour flu where I had a fever and chills while the fire was going on. So that idea was thrown out the window because I was like, well, there's no way I'm going to be able to do that because I feel like shit. So, but I thought it would have been pretty cool to go and actually go fight fires while on vacation. And I could have proven to them that I was a firefighter. I actually have a degree, and it's actually online too to be proven. But that would have been fun. They were looking for anybody with, I think they said any kind of firefighting experience or anybody with any kind of degree. So I mean, I don't have experience in real life, but we did tons of training when I did get my fire science degree. So I kind of know what's going on, but I'd be thrown into the fires and thrown into the wolves for sure. But I don't regret it. Once I got into construction, I never did regret it. I didn't want to work for the government either. That was another big thing. I know firefighters are contracted through our government, and you have to be under certain things. Like there's no way that I could be able to talk about magic mushrooms online if I was a firefighter working for the public. That there'd be, that kind of stuff would be off limits. Now I have a job that allows me to do that. My boss and me have actually talked about that, about how I openly talk about psychedelics and being able to still do my job professionally. But he says that makes me who I am. He welcomes my conversations about stuff like that. My boss does. So that was another major reason I backed off of it, because I knew that one day if I ever wanted to talk about stuff that was very borderline, that a lot of the stuff that I talk about, it would not be possible in being a firefighter. I went to Fire Academy in California when I was younger, but didn't finish, changed careers. It's crazy how all of a sudden change careers. I know people who they got like master's degree and then they totally went into something that didn't require, and they wasted 6 years of their lives. I don't think I ever call it wasting my life, because I did learn a lot in that. I think my camera just died. Phone is dead. I need to get a new phone because it doesn't charge with a plug-in. It only charges wirelessly. Still getting a lot of dripping though. That's all it was showing, was the dripping. Yeah, we gotta go put that in the charger. I'm gonna be right back. Still getting a substantial amount of dripping, so we got 20 pounds of ice, so we got plenty of ice. So I need to go get some more ice. And I just used all that. Luckily, they still sell ice when it's 25 degrees. So we're getting almost up to half a bottle. Just add more ice in there. As I said earlier, as the great Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad said, chemistry, bitches. It's chemistry. That's all I'm doing is chemistry. Basic chemistry. I'm turning a vapor into a liquid using cold water. Actually, cold ice. Something cold. It's fun once you do it, but then you realize how simple it is. But I'm sure a lot of you have seen Breaking Bad, one of my favorite shows. I still love that line when he says chemistry bitches. Well, Mike, I have a podcast on Sundays now, which I think I can. No, I don't have an intro for it here, but it's going to be Sundays at 9 o'clock, and it's a mental health podcast. And there will be many times where I will be discussing magic mushrooms and how they actually affect mental illness, specifically bipolar, because I actually have bipolar as well. So that Sunday show is specifically for mental health. It'll be about an hour or two show. I think it's going to be 2 hours, and we'll discuss different types of mental health. The goal is, and then kind of share what I've experienced in the last 4 years with psychedelics and treating my own mental illness with bipolar. So I invite you to come over. It'll be on the same channel that you're watching now. It'll be on the Rumination Project as well. So if you're on my personal page on Sunday morning at 9 a.m., I'll be live there, and anybody's welcome to join me. It is strictly mental health. We won't be talking about, we won't be doing anything like this. I'll be sitting in the chair, sharing my own stories, and hopefully you guys will be sharing yours. So please join me then. That's another problem with having bipolar is you're intrigued by everything. Maybe Mike, you have that same issue. You're intrigued by the whole world, and you see something, and you're like, wow, I want to learn how to do that too. And that's how I feel about everything in life. And there are many times, even when I on my road trip, where I was literally overwhelmed by the things I saw, and the things you feel. Especially being bipolar, you feel a lot more of that. So definitely intrigued by the whole world. So my mind kept being blown by simple things on my road trip, and I was like, why is my mind so blown over something so simple? Most people don't get intrigued over. And it's just nice to always constantly be intrigued and want to learn and be a master of none, but better than only a master of one, like Rasta said. Plus, the problem with my brain too is bipolar. You learn something, and then it gets boring after a while, and that's the problem. I don't remember what I know bipolar are the only people that don't have that issue. I know other people end up getting bored in life, and that's usually why sometimes divorces end. People who have these mental illnesses eventually get bored with the significant other they're with, and that can be an issue when you have something like that. It's added to your mental health. It's something I've dealt with my whole life, so I get bored after I do something for a while, and I want to learn something new, and it's usually what ends up happening. But the day you stop learning is the day you die, so don't ever stop learning. That's actually proven to prevent Alzheimer's as well. If keep your mind active, learn something, and you'll have a lot less chance of your brain decaying as you get older. So that's another reason I do it too. And I actually feel it too. There's times where I go through long periods where I don't learn something new, and life gets boring, and I'm like, what am I doing? I'm just flowing through life. And then learn a new skill, and life gets a little more exciting. Go do a new hobby. You may suck at it, but at least you tried it. I suck at frisbee golf, but I like playing that, for instance. I suck at regular golf, but I do enjoy playing that as well. But I have not played regular golf for probably 3 years or so. But cheers again. We got some blueberry muffin. We got 15 people in the house. Thank you guys for joining me. Hit that FECO, hashtag FECO. We are giving away a whole gram. Some of this FECO we're making. And please hit that like reaction button. Helps get us out there in the algorithm. The ice keeps moving behind me. That's why I keep turning around. I keep hearing the ice shifting and just making sure something's not about to blow up. Also, we can probably just bring me up full screen. There we go. As you see here, we actually have a full production now. We have a light over here, and we have a light over here. So I've tried to get the light, because when I've done my lives in the kitchen, the lighting in here sucks. We got light here and over there, so I think I've kind of nailed it a little better with being able to see my face and being able to see everything else. But we got new lights for our podcasts on Sundays, and then I also have a new backdrop and some other new equipment I'm going to be using on Sundays. So I'm really excited about being able to produce a lot more professional podcasts. Even though I think a lot of the stuff I make is very professional, I still think that I can do better, and that's my goal. Be more professional, give you guys more educational than I normally do, and make sure that I don't start stuttering. The Sundays, man, Sunday mornings, my mind's working really good, so that's why I love that I picked that day. By the end of the night, like tonight, I'm at 9 o'clock. I'm almost ready for bed. Thanks for all the tags, Ashton Miller. I appreciate it. This thing is still running. We have a black mark on our bottle. That's half a bottle, so we're almost to that black mark. So that was half a bottle of Everclear. How much is these bottles now? I think they're $30. Wait, no, they're 30. I bought them for $76 for 2 bottles. That's how much the Everclear is now. So what is that? Is that $36? $37 a piece? So I've already gotten back about $18, $19 just from what I've gotten out of there now. We should be able, my guess, I spent $76. I had a bottle and 3/4, so $60. I should be able to get about $45 to $50 back in return in actual money value. I got this. It is flowing now. Got a good flow. It seems to be when you put the ice in, you get a reaction like 5 minutes later. So that reaction of that cold copper now is drawing out more of the vapors. So it's basically contained right around the coils, and it helps really a lot. But we're gonna add more ice. We're gonna dump some more water. And more ice. Somewhere we got a leak. We'll have to check for that next time. I don't know where all that water keeps coming out of, but let's take a look for a minute. But I think the water keeps dripping out of here, and it keeps going all over. It's all over the table, which this is another reason I actually bought stainless here, because I ruined my wood table. I'm doing this. You spill Everclear and then water over, and the water sits with Everclear for 30 minutes. You're not going to have a good wood table left. So if anybody didn't see, this is also the press I bought. This has allowed me to put my little container here that has a little nozzle, and I actually can squeeze the remainder of the flour out and using this 12-ton press. So this is also going to allow me to squeeze my own cannabis rosin. I already have one machine, but it's not very good. So this is, I'm going to get some hot plates. It'll be a massive upgrade compared to what I had. So I bought that for 2 reasons as well, Joe Kelly, for the fact that I can do this, and then I can also buy the hot plates and then start squeezing my own rosin again. I'd love to squeeze some of that blueberry muffin, and I really am interested in knowing how that turns out, Joe. Just message me about it, because I want some. Yeah, it's a H-frame floor press, a machine press. It's really heavy duty. I bought it at Harbor Freights. It really wasn't a bad price. I think I paid $180 with tax. Which I don't think is that bad for. It's really, really heavy, but it's probably like 140 to 160 pounds. I couldn't carry it in my house, but I can carry it now because it's not as awkward when it was in this long package I only could get it out of the truck. Once I put it on the ground, I couldn't get it back off the ground because it's so heavy. So I dragged the rest of it into my house and then unboxed it. I do have a bubble hash washer. I've never used it, Joe. I actually bought two. I actually bought another bubble hash washer, and then I never used it. And I ended up selling it for $80. It was actually one of the 5-gallon ones. It was one of the really tall ones. Mine's like a 3-gallon one, but I actually have never used it myself. I've actually let somebody borrow it to use it. But it's wild. I spent my roommate who used to live with me. Part of the agreement we had was I used to grow the cannabis. I would do all the labor part, and he would buy all the stuff it took to grow it. So at the beginning of every month, he would buy a whole bunch of stuff to grow cannabis, and he ended up buying a washer, which I didn't even want the washer, and so I got all the stuff too as well. When he bought all the stuff, I then owned it because I put the labor in to grow the cannabis. It was just the agreement we had. So I have a washer now that I've never used because of that reason than my old roommate buying it. But I would love to use it. I'm scared to, Joe. It takes a lot of material to put in there. And once you put the material in there with the water, there's no going back once you get that cannabis wet. Once it gets wet in that bubble hash, you got to do it right. Otherwise, you're going to end up with mush. Oh, thanks, George. This friend made it for me. And this one over here, this is the one I wear to the farmer's market in the summer. It's a lot warmer. And it has a message on the back. I don't know if you can see it. It was made with a cricket, too. So even when you run it through some low heat and dryer, it all sticks to itself. But you can still see it. But I have about 8 different mushroom shirts that I kind of switch through. So. Heck yeah. I've read the directions in the YouTube video that the YouTube video is really helpful. I think that I know how to do it. I just, the first time doing it, and the fact that you need so much material, you need at least a quarter pound, and that's a lot of material. And, if you don't do it right, Joe, you can lose a lot. So I've always had that fear, and that just kept me from doing it. Plus, I always prefer rosin. No, I know if you turn it into bubble hash and then you can actually press the rosin, yes. But I never got down to that prop. I always liked smoking the rosin as well. Yeah, you're right, Joe. The drying process is very complex too. And from what I've seen, you just lay it out. You want to lay it out flat and allow it to air dry. But doing that is probably harder than it sounds. I'm gonna scoop some more, add some water in. Still coming out pretty good. I think we may check, may open the device. The great thing is this device is not pressurized, so I can just turn the burner off, unclamp it. I do have gloves that I wear that kind of came with something else. So we have some of these silicone gloves that we can touch hot stuff with. So I'm going to check it just to make sure. I think there's still a lot left in there, but you want to be sure because if you burn all the Everclear off in there, the product's screwed and you lose everything. So we'll just turn it off. We're going to clamp it. And we're just going to take a peek and see if we still have a lot of liquid in it. Then we have quite a bit. Easily another bottle in there. These gloves are awesome too. If you buy most of any like a magic butter machine, you usually get 2 of these. I got one. I got 2 I got 3 pairs of these, but I don't remember what I got to get them with. But they're great to have. They don't hold as much heat as your regular other, cotton gloves, whatever fabric they use. So don't try to like hold something to like 1,000 degrees because it's gonna burn through them. Cheers. No pressure, Mike. No, there was no pressure. The fact that it has a little bit of pressure because you have a little bit of heat rising, but it's open-ended here, so you're dripping into the Everclear, so it's not exactly pressurized. It does have an open end, but it is drawn to that open end with the cold water. So that probably ended up dripping probably another half an hour, 45 minutes. There was a lot left in there, quite a bit, which is good. That means we're extracting a lot. We're getting what we put in there in return. I'd love to fill up 1.5 bottles. And I put in a bottle and 3/4 in there, so I'd love to get a bottle and a half back. That would be a great return. That'd easily be 80%. And that means our press worked, because for everything I've ever read about anybody else making FECO and doing this process, I've never seen anybody get more than 90% back, maybe 85. But I've been Reddit, people talk about it in Reddit. Reddit chats is usually where I get a lot of this information in the past. Going through Reddit chats, reading everybody's illegal conversations about their drugs. And I've never seen anybody else get much of more of a return. So using the press and getting that good of a return would be awesome. And does anybody else get any of their cannabis and illegal drug information from Reddit like I do? There's a lot of information about drugs on there, especially like magic mushrooms and how to grow it underground. A lot of great conversations about what people do in their own homes that I find on there. And I found very useful information buried in Reddit chats. Some of the most useful information is somebody who's been doing something in their house for 10, 20 years. Those people legitimately know the most. They don't have a YouTube channel sometimes. They just reach out in Reddit and write a little chat. It is science, Mike. Cheers. Oh, we totally didn't bring that up. Gotcha, Joe. Yeah, steam pressure, Mike. As that heat rises, but Everclear doesn't act the same as water vapor. It takes less. It's lighter than water, so it takes, I think, 10 degrees less. What boiling? Yeah. We're at 170 degrees, and we just randomly got another leak too, so we're gonna fix that. That leak came out of nowhere. This has been not leaking the whole time, and all of a sudden it starts leaking. I don't know why it's leaking this tight. So that's also where you lose product as well. Loose fittings, lose a lot of evaporation there. So I'm going to try to fix this. It's leaking. I don't know. It hasn't leaked the whole time. And all of a sudden it starts leaking. So maybe the fitting just came off a little. That's what I'm hoping it was. We just moving the hose fixed it. Sometimes you just gotta adjust the hose a little. Straighten it out. Yeah, it's leaking at the fitting, Tim. I just straightened the fitting out and it it's not leaking anymore. I think the fact that it wasn't leaking all of a sudden made me think that I moved it and the fitting wasn't straight anymore. But you'll lose 5 to 10% in your fittings if you're not tight. I do use, these are all the extra parts that came with the device. I could have put some of these in there. They have a whole bunch of rubber seals, so if I have an issue, I can put another rubber seal in there. Sometimes I do. It has all these other fittings. I also comes with an extra hose, syringes. I've added some kind of syringe, and then a couple of extra rubber hoses of different sizes, so you can kind of put them into your bottle. And then I got some plumber's tape. All right, we got to throw some more ice in. Where am I at? There we go. I'm using PGA here. And in a sense, it still comes out the same. I'm assuming the same proof as Everclear. You're not changing anything. You're separating the Everclear from the actual medicine. So that's why Everclear, the alcohol is actually lighter than your medicine. So a little bit of heat underneath of 190. Well, actually, it's 170 degrees is what it's evaporating at. Thermostat says 170 degrees, and that's what we're getting an evaporated temperature right now. Water boils at what, 200? So we're almost 30 degrees under the water boiling temperature. I remember water boils at 204. I need to look that up. $212 degrees. So I was 8 degrees off. So water boils at 212, and this is boiling at 170. Getting a little bit more of a leak at that same spot. It's not much. It's like a drop every few minutes, but it's enough of a drip to be annoying. Really, it can't get any tighter. I loosened it and then tightened it again. It's stopped dripping for now. What's going on, Macy? How you doing? Macy's here. So be careful when you get around 100. Yeah, be dripping good. We got a full run here. See, it is running. We got a straight drizzle. Not just a drizzle, but a straight drizzle. You know what a straight drizzle is. It's filling up the bottle really fast. If it runs like that, that's for sure. So we just put more ice in it, and that always helps. You put cold ice in there. We still have about 4 pounds of ice left. Hopefully we have enough ice. But I think we do. There's still a lot of ice in this other thing. And I also didn't use my cold packs. I have a whole bunch of cold packs in the freezer, and I should use those. Cold packs. So I just load one of these in there. Load a couple small ones. They do help. They save me from using ice, but I forgot I had them. I got like 3 or 4 of them. Yeah, I have a solid stream. It's still going to a drip now. but it's fluctuating between dripping and running. It seems to go through stages. It'll run really fast and then start to trickle. As that ice gets just a tad bit cooler, it loses that evaporation power, I guess. So as it's going to get cold here in a second. We'll put more ice in. It is very nice. That is nice. If you have not yet, please hit that little action button though. Help us get how to make FECO out there. This is the first time I've actually done this in about a year. I actually looked at the last live stream I did making FECO, and it was in May of 2024, and that's been a long time. Time flies by. I did not realize it had been that long. I was like, I think I did the last live in the lab or live in the kitchen making FECO in November, but it was a lot longer than that. But we can probably give this FECO away. Let me bring that screen up bigger. It's not going to keep you the whole time while this stuff evaporates, because it's probably going to take another hour. We got 32 entries. I guess you got to be present to win too. So anybody else want to get it in there? I'm going to load this bowl up and take a little bit of a puff, and then we're going to see who wins this tube of FECO. And as well, I will not, I didn't say it in my last podcast, but anytime you win on my podcast, my shippings are going to go out on Sundays. So if you win the FECO today, I will ship out on Sunday. I will not probably have it till then as well. But that's a new thing I'm doing since I have my other job. I'm only going to be able to ship out on Sundays. So if you win on my show on Sunday morning, that's fine. I'm going to actually ship out that day. I mean, package it up and ship it out Monday. But any of my other shows, it'll be on Sunday. So all my other shows are not scheduled. I will still be doing live in the labs as I get more into the farmers market season and I ramp up in that production of mushrooms. We'll be definitely doing some live in the labs. The farmers markets do not start till May, so it's still quite a bit of time left. We're in January, February, March, April, May, so we got like 2 more months before the farmers markets even hit. It's going to be a busy ass time of my life doing my other job and then getting to the farmers market. But I look forward to it. Is it 5 gallon? It's the Beaver. I do not know the size, but it is a Beaver, but it's not. Yeah, it might be 5 gallons. It's not 2 gallons. It's definitely bigger. I'm sitting here looking at a 5 gallon bucket and looking at that. And it looks about the same size, I think, but I can't tell you. I bought this device probably 4 years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago. It may be longer than that, maybe 5, 6. So it's been a while since I've owned it. Let's see if we got some keef in here too. We'll smoke a little bit of some keef. Oh, there is some beautiful keef in there. You know what the greatest keef is, Joe Kelly? Blueberry muffin keef. You got a 15 gallon? Holy shit, Mike. That's definitely not 15 gallon. That's big. That's big. You were using it to distill? What were you making it with? What were you using the 15 gallon for? Actually distilling alcohol? If that's the case, you probably do need a big one. But if you're making FECO, I don't know why you need something that big. I didn't know Beaver made that big of one, but it is interesting what Beaver makes and sells. They sell all kinds of random shit and different sizes sometimes. You're making moonshine. That's awesome. That's science too, buddy. I don't care what anybody says. Takes some chemistry and some, but I have no idea how to make moonshine. So I've seen it made on those shows, but if you asked me to make it and you showed me one of those devices, I wouldn't know any idea. The Pekin Marigold Festival in September. I'll have to look into that. Big festival. They imagine it is. Pekin's a big area. But yeah, definitely looking to get out into more areas this year. So anybody who knows the good spots for farmers markets, hit me up. I now have a car to travel and get to those places. Before, I only had my company truck, and I was not allowed to drive that further than an hour and a half away. So I do plan on going to St. Charles, Missouri once this year. It's a $40 farmers market to get into. That's why I've been reluctant in the past. But they do guarantee you 1,200 customers. So that's about 4 times as much as I see at my farmers market. But yeah, I'd love to see bigger crowds. I'd love to get into more markets. I do know that I have a lot of really good conversations at these farmers markets with people who don't really know a lot about mushrooms. So getting out and talking to more people is definitely something that I love doing. I can get into really deep conversations about mushrooms pretty easily, and I constantly do with my customers when they do walk up to me. I just spit out all this information. Just because I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years, it's something that I'm passionate about. It's really just stuck in my head now. But I learned all this on magic mushrooms, and I'll tell you what, if you do magic mushrooms and then you learn something, it sticks to your brain like nothing other. And I always felt like I was cheating life every time I would do magic mushrooms, and then I'd learn a skill, and I'd be like, I'd learn it immediately and then remember it, because the magic mushrooms just make your brain sticky, make it very pliable, make it very easy to learn something. And that's how I learned a lot of this stuff over the last 5 years, was doing that. I do a dose of magic mushrooms, and then I watch a YouTube video on how to do something and learn a whole new skill. And I don't know if Joe Kelly, if you do that, or if anybody else out there does that as well, knows the power of magic mushrooms and actually how they can make you learn so much easier. But I have some fascinating things with it. When I get high on mushrooms, learn a new skill, and it's to your brain. Need more water. Let's add a little more water. The mushroom kits, I make 4-pound bags. They grow about 2 pounds of mushrooms. I start making those again in the spring, so probably 2 to 4 more weeks. I should start making more of them. I make a 10-pound bag, but those are only the ones that I use in my commercial setting. I don't sell them because they're too big, and I'd have to sell them for like $60 to make a profit off them. So I only sell my 4-pound bags, and then my 10-pound bags are only used in my own garden. The 10-pound bags actually grow about 6 to 7 pounds of mushrooms. They can probably grow more than that if you take the time to, but 6 pounds is pretty easy with the 10-pound bag. But I should have them back on there, and then I'll have them on there. I think the kits are $22, $22, $24, and they grow. They're $22. They grow 2.5 pounds. You can probably grow more as well if you tried, but they'll grow 2 to 3 pounds pretty easily. And usually over 3 flushes too. So usually you get like 1.5 pound flush, and then you'll get half of that. Maybe like 1 pound flush the second time, and then the third flush can be like 1/2 pound, and that's usually what those 4-pound bags usually get. Alcohol actually will evaporate off the mash before they get it. And alcohol evaporates so fast, especially 99%. Like literally, it evaporates the minute you spray it into the air. Yeah, throw some more ice in there. Bottle is filling up, and I meant to hit this this bowl here and give this FECO away, but I got to talking again. Cheers, everybody. Yeah, Joe, I got a cool book. Let me go grab it real quick. I'll show you something. Well, I bought a microscope over last year, and the guy gave me some free books. He said these books are worth he bought them like $70 each. But they talk about the same thing you're talking about. They talk about soil here and then making different soils, regenerative soils, regenerative soil microscopy. So the thing I tried to do for excuse me, a product that I tried to make for a while. I'm trying to make organic fertilizers to add to your garden, and I did a little bit of experimenting once. I basically took a bag, and I have one right here. So this is what you call a tea bag, and it basically seals shut. You can put it in something and kind of infuse it. Excuse me, that bowl. But what I would do is I take one of my mushroom bags. After I grew mushrooms in it, I would take the bag after it'd grown mushrooms for 2 months. I put the bag in here, my mushroom bag, which is soy hull, hardwood pellets, and then the mycelium. And by the time it grows the mushrooms, it's basically a hard rock. It's basically like a tree limb. It's really hard. And so I threw it in here. I put it inside of a bucket of water, and then I put an air stone in there to add air. And what had happened is I apparently had grown some kind of environment and I still have some of the liquid where it started to make microbes, like healthy microbes, inside this bucket off of the mycelium. So my buddy, he took the microscope and he started seeing all these. And here it actually shows you the good microbes that you want to see under your microscope. And I don't know how it happened. I don't know how the microbes got in there. It was very intriguing to experiment and do that and actually add the air into there. And the mycelium basically started growing in the water. So that's what happened. The mycelium started growing in the water because it had oxygen in the water with the air stone. And then this other environment started happening, this very healthy environment, and very intriguing. So I still have some of the samples that I took off of there, and he actually found some interesting things inside the liquid too. So mycelium is a very intriguing substance, and I love messing around with it. And mycelium is the part of the mushroom that you never see. I see it all the time because I'm constantly dealing with mushrooms. The mycelium is definitely an intriguing organism. I'll actually show you a big batch of it right here. There's some really healthy stuff here. This is some stuff that I just grew. This is shiitake. You can see all that white mycelium, very thick. This is very, very healthy mycelium. There's actually very little yellow spots. And yellowing in any kind of mycelium usually it means it released an antibiotic. Usually means it was fighting off something microbial. There's maybe one yellow spot. So this is a very, very healthy batch of shiitake mycelium. You can see all the individual threads. It's actually pretty amazing. If you look under a microscope, you could actually see each cell connecting to the other one. And this is a living organism. This thing is older than me. This was the first thing on our planet, and it will survive the next extinction. And it'll just go back into the ground. If a meteor hit our Earth, it would survive. It's very interesting how old it is, and the fact of what it can do, what it's capable of, what the fact that it can eat radioactive material, they can eat oil. They just found a mycelium, I heard, that eats radioactive material. It was growing on some kind of radioactive material and actually eating it. If we could find a mushroom that could eat radioactive material and turn it into soil, I mean, we could solve a lot of our problems. So it's very interesting that what mycelium actually can do. It just uses any kind of fuel. It uses anything organic. It eats it and turns it basically into soil. And it takes about a year, from what I've seen. That block of wood, actually, if you leave it outside and the rain hits, usually just crumbles into pieces. And after a year, it looks like soil. It actually starts to turn black. So that's all actually what soil is. It actually is dead organic material that has been eaten by mycelium and turned into soil after it's eaten its stuff. So I honestly believe that we'll find stuff like that in the future, where we'll use mycelium to eat radioactive material after it's used. Or maybe we'll clean up oil spills. There's a lot of possibilities that mycelium can offer the planet. And yeah, we're gonna give away this FECO in there waiting. I'm just sitting here talking, watching this stuff drip behind me. Still getting a pretty steady stream. I'm just afraid I'm gonna run out of ice. And I guess that's okay if I do. I can always continue tomorrow. We still got about 3 pounds of ice, 5 pounds of ice left. That FECO, yeah, don't get to get into that FECO. I need to add that on the banner and make it easier. Shauna, are you still here too? Shauna and the Gans, are you still here? There you go. Now you know. FECO. I think we got 32 entries. Let's bring up that big screen. Not that one. That one. Cheers to you. It is so super cool. That's why I teach that. I have that hour and a half class I teach. I talk a lot about this. And it's very mind-blowing how many people don't know this. And this is I'm not like making any of this up. You can research anything I say. And show that it's true. It's just really intriguing. So a lot of times when I start teaching my class, when I start sharing this information, people start listening very closely, because it's very intriguing, because this is the basis of how our whole planet works. This is the foundation of everything on our planet is based off of mycelium. Our survival is based on mycelium. If mycelium did not exist, humans would not exist. That's basically a fact. Yes, that's what I was talking about, Tim. That was what I was talking about. I didn't read much into it. I only heard it briefly, but I definitely wanted to look more into it. And I guarantee you, the scientists are too. The minute you found the fungus that was eating radioactive material, you would look more into it and see if you could harness its power and cleaning up more stuff. Because I imagine it eats the radioactivity and then turns it into something that's not radioactive, something more. So that's what I would think. But I wish I was the one that was there to study it. But I imagine somebody is, but they have to be in some radioactive suits. But nature thrives. That's really amazing how much nature recovers after we destroy it. And I've read actually a lot of the stories that scientists are shocked by how much Chernobyl has actually recovered just since the 1988. Since that happened, it's not that long ago in history. I mean, it is a long time ago, but in terms of Earth, it's not. But nature's returned. Basically the animals have taken over the city, and the animals are thriving, even in the radioactive area. So they're really intriguing how much the area is still thriving despite having all that radioactive fallout. Yeah, very passionate. You come on to my farmer's stand on Saturdays, you'll see when people ask me questions about stuff, and especially about lion's mane and how powerful lion's mane is. You have to be courageous. Oh, to go to Ukraine. Yeah, you're right. I had to think for a minute where Chernobyl was, and I was like, oh yeah, it's in Ukraine. There's also some reishi mycelium here. But actually, this stuff looks more like a cloud. It's way different than the other mycelium, and every mycelium actually has a different texture, different look, and a different smell. I've actually gotten more used to the smells of each mushroom. Like the shiitake smells more like a wood. The blue oysters smell like the middle of the woods in a morning, middle of a foggy morning, where you smell the woods, and you know that smell. Golden oysters actually smell like honeydew melons. That's always interesting when I mess around with golden oyster mycelium. It smells exactly like honeydew mushrooms or honeydew melons. So it's pretty cool. So let's get this thing a spin. So everybody, I think, is in who wants in, but must be present to win. I know I've been live for 2.5 hours, but let's spin it. I haven't seen anybody enter in a second. 8:49. That was 5 minutes ago. Yep. There's benefits of living in the country and benefits of not. I actually enjoy them both. I love big city life, but I like going in the middle of nowhere. Kind of like if we didn't have them both, I wouldn't be able to appreciate the other. So, good luck, everybody. 32 entries. And then I can play this wild music. Debbie Potter, you here? The party music. Debbie Potter, you here? I'll give you 5 minutes. What's going on? Sorry, how you doing? Turn the music down a little. I just found this song today. I actually get a lot of this music from a free website, copyright free. And this song's about watermelons. It's like a reggae song about watermelons, but I just found it hilarious. It's very upbeat too. He basically says watermelons are hydrating. It's just a reggae song. It's like 3 minutes long. It's crazy. But pixabay.com, you can download a lot of copyright free stuff that anybody else ever wants to. You can download music, pictures, and other stuff. Copyright free. They ask for donations though, so you can make donations. Did I see Debbie Pie yet? I don't think so. Alright, well my clock changes to 9:57. Is Debbie here? Did I miss her? I don't see Debbie. I give it a minute though. Nope, I don't see your comments. I didn't miss it. But I'll give it another minute. I'll give it 8:50, 9:58, and that'll be a whole 2-3 minutes of waiting. And then I'll spin it again. Joe, what's going on? Dude, you said watermelon's 92%. I mean, how do you make a song out of this? It's hilarious. 92%. I listen to a lot of reggae too, and reggae is actually really good to play during a podcast. Some of these songs are funny. Debbie Pot. I just changed to 9:58. Let's spin it again. All right, good luck, everybody. Did not see Debbie Pot at all. Boom. Sorry, Debbie Pot. I usually let one. Oh, Lisa Robinson. I think I just saw. Isn't Lisa Robinson the last one to get in? Lisa, are you still here? Let's get somebody who's here. We still got 20 people in the house. We only had 32 people entries. Yep, you can still enter it too. So if we don't have a winner here, you can still enter. I'm going to give it till 10. Lisa Robinson. Cheers. Oh, there she is. There she is. Well, hold on. This one, there it is. Congratulations, Lisa. You're the winner. A whole gram of some FECO. Just send me your address. I'm going to turn that down. Just send me your address and I'll get that shipped out to you on Sunday. Or I'll get it packaged up on Sunday and shipped to you on a Monday. But I appreciate you joining me tonight. Appreciate everybody joining me tonight. Hopefully learned a little bit and maybe learned a little bit about mushrooms or FECO that I made earlier. It's actually still over here coming out. So this bottle's basically full. So we'll get another bottle out now and start transferring over to that one. Just throw the rest back in. There we go. Would you just look at that? Oh, wrong screen. It's a full bottle of Everclear back. Clear, Everclear, just like I bought it. Now, it did come out at first with a slight green tint, I did notice. But after that, it started coming out a lot clearer. It looks very clear to me. So now we're working on that second bottle, filling that up. And we'll continue to do that in the next half an hour. But thank you guys all for joining me. Please hit that like, share, reaction button on the way out. It really helps. And again, join me on Sunday morning. We will be having we'll be doing our first episode of Coffee Time with Dan. And it's going to be a mental health podcast. This week's episode is going to be basically the state of mental health in our country, the state of why and also why I did this podcast and my own personal reasons. We'll go through that as well. And we'll have some giveaways as well. And then next week sometime, we're going to have a huge giveaway. I never did have a 3,000, a 4,000, a 5,000 follower giveaway on my personal page, nor did I have a 2,000 follower giveaway on my Great River Mushrooms. We are going to be giving away one of these. This is a fusion machine. Somebody's going to win one that night. I think I'm going to do it Sunday night. We'll see. I might just do it then. And then we'll end up giving probably away about 7 or 8 different products. We're going to have a huge customer appreciation giveaway, and I do these every often. So see you guys then. Thanks, you guys, for joining me. Hopefully I'll see you guys Sunday morning, and you guys have a great rest of your week. I'll end it here with one of my commercials. So we'll see you guys later. Peace.